Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made a video, but this is gonna be the start of a new playlist where I analyze some of my tournament games. So yesterday I had a regionals tournament which I competed in and I wanted to share this game with y'all. So here we go. I am playing on the black side of this game, so let's look at it from that perspective. And so against e4 I like to play e5. Let's turn off the engine here. And we get the bishop's opening, so I like to just kind of try to convert into kind of the Italian game and get this kind of set up, but my opponent did not allow that. So we get a knight c3, and I like to just capture on e4. So notice that I am giving up my knight, but in return I am opting for this pin on d5. So my opponent goes ahead and captures. And after I play d5, well, I wasn't really expecting him to capture with the bishop, since normally the bishop is prized as a better piece than the knight, especially in open games with e4 and e5. But we don't really get that. Instead, we have the bishop sacrificing himself. I was thinking that we would get this kind of position where I would capture the knight and the bishop would stay on board. But no, we didn't get that. Instead, we have this exchange where my queen goes to the center of the board and we get greeted by a queen to f3. Notice the pressure on f7. There is some pressure connected with ideas like knight to g5, so I have to be careful of that. And because of that, I just decided to develop my piece. So then we get a move like d3, which was preparing a move like knight g5, just controlling this square with the bishop. Maybe there's some ideas there, also prompting up the knight. I like that this knight cannot go to f3 so easily, so in the future it could be hard to develop this piece. And so noticing that there was some tension on this g5 square, I was kind of concerned, so I played my bishop to e7, but looking back, knight to c6 would have been a better move. Notice that right now there's kind of some tension between our queens and the b7 square and g2 square. If I could block this attack on the b7 square in the future in some lines, I can move my queen away without worrying about dropping my b7 pawn. But no, instead I played bishop to e7. Really, I was concerned about getting castled and didn't really consider knight c6 too much. So bishop to e7, and we get knight g5. Now here there were some tactics like I mentioned before about the b7 square. Notice that if I play a nothing move like a6 and we get a capture, I can't really capture with my queen. Notice that if captures here, I do drop this piece. So I don't want to do that. So in that case, I'd have to play a move like this, capturing with a pawn. I don't really like these double pawns. Now they may not be too much of a weakness, but I just don't want to have a worse structure if I don't need to. So that's what I was calculating here. So I opt to capture because here actually I could have just blocked right away, but again I wasn't really too keen on this knight c6 move, and I just decided that the easiest way to do it was to chop. Now this was a g25 game, so it was a little faster than I would have liked, but yeah, I think I should have thought twice about getting rid of my bishop. Notice that I do have the bishop pair at the moment. And well, if I can play knight c6, I'll be up in development. Notice that after moves like this, I have 3 pieces out, while my opponent only has the queen. So I have a small advantage here, nothing to go home and write about, but it is comfortable, especially for black, to equalize this early in the game. But no, we approached this spot, and I decided to play f6. I took a really long time here wondering whether to just castle or play f6. I was calculating if there were some lines with queen h5, but there wasn't really anything. After moves like this, there's not much. So I decided that f6 was a good use of my time. But here is where I make my mistake. Notice that my pawns are pointing towards the queen side, and well, playing f6 can create some weaknesses on my king side. I don't think the king belongs on the king side. The engine says, no, castling isn't even on the agenda. So maybe attacking one of these pawns, move like this, would have been okay. Yeah, that would have been alright. But, I don't know. Castling just didn't seem right in this position after I played it. I guess I was too worried about my king's safety. So f3. f3 just blunts my bishop. Notice I can't really do anything with this bishop anymore. It's a little restricted, and yeah. So knight d7. The intention for knight d7 was to play c5, but honestly, I don't think I needed c5. Maybe just knight c6 would have been a better, more natural square for the bishop. But at the same time, I guess I was too focused on moving the c pawn that I didn't consider it too much. Let's see what the engine has to say here. Yeah, so c5 right away. There are actually some tactics here connected to this piece. Look at the undefended pawn on c2. Notice that if they would draw, this is hanging, and then we have an active rook on the c file. So we would get something like this, and if I capture, well, he could capture. Maybe he's gonna attack us first, and then after I withdraw, he captures. Something like this. But no, I instead opt to go for knight to d7, trying to prepare c5, but that didn't work out. So after knight to e2, I really think I should have played c5 here because that's what I was trying to prepare, but no. I go for this rook e8 move, and the thing about rook e8 was that I was trying to meet f4 with a move like e4, but notice that I didn't really calculate that if f4, then this pawn is dropping, so I should have paid attention to what my bishop was doing on this diagonal, and maybe that would have helped me avoid rook to e8. So we get knight to c3, and I was okay with this move. Notice that my bishop is restricting the knight. And he queenside castles, and this was very alarming. I didn't really think this would happen. I thought maybe a move like king to f2, but no, we don't get that. And so we get queenside castles, and I was pretty excited at this point of the game. I was thinking that I'd have some kind of pawns thrown on the queen side, get my rooks active, and so I opt to open up the position. And I don't know about this move, rook to a3. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe I should have improved my position first before infiltrating. Rook a3 isn't bad by any means, but there are a lot of improvements. Like this knight, what is this knight doing? This knight could have opted for going to one of these squares, and just would have been a better piece. I could have improved my position that way, or even just bringing up my king would have helped. But I decided to go for this, and after the king comes out, we swap all the major pieces. And this is where I start to go astray. So here I think we're around, a slight advantage for black, but pretty close to equality. And this is where I make a mistake. So I play knight to b8, the idea being I want to eye up this a6 square to attack this pawn, but notice that this king can just march upward to this square. Notice that after a move like this, there's really nothing to worry about. So let's see. After knight to b8, the king marches upward, and I decide, no, knight a6 is not the square for my knight. So I just get my king up, and I really should improve my king beforehand. If I didn't feel like rerouting the knight right away, maybe I just could have played king to f7 and get the king closer to the center because that's where the action is. Probably on the queen side, notice that there's more things going on here. The pieces are on this side of the board. So I would have liked to have my king closer. So yeah, knight b8 kind of slowed me down there. So after knight e4, I start to get in a little bit of a time trouble here in this position. Like I said, it was a G25 game, and I had maybe about 5 minutes left on my clock here, so I had to play faster. And I just thought the knight getting to c5 was too strong, and I decided to chop, but really I should have not. In these kind of end games, I should have let my bishop be on board. I noticed that if this knight goes to c5, I could put my knight back on d7 and oppose the knight that way. But if I do trade, which happened in the game, this bishop is always going to be stronger than this knight. It's just a way of life. That's just kind of how it works in these endgames. The bishop is too strong. So I get my knight out, and the king marches up to defend the pawn, and I decided to get my king up. So here I thought my knight was still okay, and so we get some captures here, and I start getting some space on the king side. But eventually I get too caught up on the king side that I don't pay attention enough to the queen side. And so my opponent matches my space on the king side. He plays h4, and I decide to play c6, just making sure that the c pawn doesn't get captured and that the king doesn't advance too far along. But really, I should have been considering at least my king going to d7 to protect the pawn, and having my knight go off to g6 and other attacking possibilities elsewhere, instead of having my knight defend and my king move, which is what I intend in the game. So like I said, I let my king go stray, not to the right side of the board. Here I should have probably captured with the knight, but I guess I missed that because I captured with the king. Notice that this piece is hanging. So after knight captures, what's going on? Yeah, just the bishop moving away, and what do? So yeah, I guess I was too caught up on this pawn, not dropping this pawn. But I shouldn't have been. I should have calculated that. But like I said, around here I had about maybe 3 minutes on my clock, and there was more pressure. So I just captured with the king. But we end up with this tactic where my knight is attacked, and what am I doing? Notice that my knight is defending c6, and my king isn't there to defend the pawn. So after this move, and playing b5, what's going on? I'm dropping my pawns. So now it's definitely white that has an advantage, and I'm losing this game. I actually didn't consider playing king e5. So let's see, king e5, capture. I guess I can blockade, but what's going on here? Yeah, it gets really sloppy. Notice that I have to give up this piece, and now I'm +7. Notice that even if I do get rid of this pawn, h8 is a promoting square, and this bishop is dark squared, so it's going to promote no matter what. Even though it is a rook pawn, this endgame is just going to be lost. So yeah, let's see, where were we? So after this, I don't bring my king in, instead I just capture and let my knight get captured. And in the game, I actually didn't capture the pawn on g2. I was trying to take advantage of opposition, but even without capturing the pawn and having my king try to block off his own, he has moves to waste with his bishop, and I just wasn't going to be able to maintain the opposition long enough to actually get a draw. So by this point it was a loss, and well, that's the game. Really, a lot of the major points happened here when I traded my bishop for my knight, and then when I let my king go to the king side instead of protecting my pieces on the queen side. So I should have really been more careful here, but lessons learned. It was a good game under time pressure. Like I said, after about move 24, we were in blitz mode. Both of us were playing under time pressure, and well, I thought it was a good game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you have any games you want me to review, leave them in the comments, and I might go around to review them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I might make some more. Thanks for watching. Bye.